What's up, everybody? It's Bear with BearIndependent.com. You know that because you're here. Shaloha. Today, we're talking about bug out bag how-to. That's right. We're in the prepper classroom. We're back in the prepper classroom. I have had many requests from many people for more prepper classroom videos. But the reason we're doing this today is because one of my lovely and talented assistants, I say that it makes me sound like a magician. Watch this. No, actually, one of my admins was like, yo, you talk about bug out bags all the time, but you don't actually have a video on what goes inside a bug out bag that's good. Because the last one you did 2 years ago on the tailgate of a truck. Maybe you should make a new one. Here we are. So, we're going to cruise because I could spend 4 hours on this. And I don't have 4 hours. You don't have 4 hours. So we're going to do a little bit of whiteboard, and then we're going to dive into my actual rucksack that I use as a bug out bag, get home bag, inch bag, and just so that we're clear and welcome all the new people. I do not care what nomenclature you use. This is my inch bag, and this is my get home bag, and that's my bug out bag, and this is my EDC bag, and that's my rucksack. I don't care. I have one bag to rule them all. It's full of things that I need to not die so that I can get from one place to another, okay? So you use whatever term you would like to use. I'm going to use interchangeably the terms bug out bag and rucksack because they're one and the same for me. Bug out bag how-to. Vanna, can I get a letter A? The reason we have a bug out bag is so that we can get from A to B. It is bad over here. We are leaving and we are going over here. We are not going on vacation. From A to B, not vacationing. This is not some extended stay scenario where we hope that they have free breakfast and a pool and that the Wi-Fi is good. We are bugging out, which means we are moving, okay? Which means the firepower versus mobility equation, thank you Lieutenant Colonel Nut and Fancy, is skewed in the direction of mobility. A lot of y'all mess this up. Yeah, I'm just going to bug out. I'm bringing my 240 Bravo and 6 200 round belts, and then I'm going to bring a couple of 12 gauges just to have one with the slug barrel and the other one with the bird barrel. Guys, we're not starting World War III. We're leaving a bad place to get to a less bad place, okay? And if you haven't seen the video on bug out indicators, because everybody says, well, when do I go? The bug out indicators video in the prepper classroom is for you, okay? Weight, the weight of this bag should in no way, and I'd say this bag and everything else you're carrying, because when you add it all up, it's a lot. I recently got the question, what rucksack do you recommend I run with my plate carrier? And the answer is CrossFit. Yeah. Weight, not more than 30% of your body. At the 30% of your body weight threshold, let's say you're a 200-pound male, that's a 60% rucksack, you are now entering the zone where you can be injured by simply having the pack on. To say nothing of all of the micro muscles and the strengthening and conditioning of your tendons, hip flexors, your ankles, all of that occurs from simply moving around with this pack on. So if you lack the balance and the stability to have this pack on and you put your foot down wrong, now you've turned an ankle, now you're a casualty, okay? So the bigger, heavier pack is usually not the answer here, okay? So no more than 30% for sure, hard and fast rule. By the way, get your prepper notebooks out, write all this stuff down, yada, 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 blah, 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 blah. 20% is a better rule because now if you're a 200-pound male, we're looking at a 40-pound rucksack, 40-pound bug out bag, which is much more manageable. But when you only have 40 pounds to work with, including the weight of the bag itself, now we have to get a little brutal about what we're going to bring, what we're not going to bring. But remember, we're not vacationing. This bug out bag, this rucksack, should be silent. It should be slick. And everything in it and on it should be secured. Silent meaning that if you jump up and down, like when I do this, I have keys on my belt right now. If I was going for a ruck, these here keys would not be on my belt. Okay, they would be secured so that they're not doing this as I walk through the woods. If your stuff jingles and sloshes, if your canteens are half full, which, by the way, fill your canteens. Everybody fill your canteens. This is ridiculous. Yeah, Bear, I've got 7 liters of water carrying capability. When I say 40 pounds, I mean wet, with your water in it. Water weighs 8.35 pounds per gallon. If you've got 7 liters, we're talking 15 plus pounds of water that you have not accounted for. And if they're dry, you don't have 7 liters of water, you have 7 liters of water carrying capacity. Okay, so fill your canteens, fill your water bladders, fill your water bottles. Silent. It should not make a ton of noise. In fact, it should make no noise. Slick. Man, I see people all the time with their bug out bags. They got the cute little carabiner with the paracord grenade bomb thing with 47 fish hooks and a mini razor blade inside of it hung on over here. And then I've got this over here. This thing is attached. That's my multi-tool, and I slipped it through the molly over here. And then this thing, this is a little tiny flashlight. I like this, and then I clipped it in over here. Now go walk through the woods. When you need that thing, you'll realize it doesn't exist because Murphy put a tree branch into it, which then pulled it out of your ruck. You had no idea that it was there, and you're just getting after it, man. Just going for a stroll, apocalypsing. And hey, where's my multi-tool? Gone. Several miles that way. So if it's going to be on the outside of your ruck, it needs to be secured. But I much prefer that it is slick, because again, the more protrusions, the more stuff you have hanging off of this, the more stuff's going to get caught as you're moving, the more stuff's going to fall off, the more noise it's going to make. And so I tend to put things inside of the bag, not on the outside of the bag. And when I see somebody that has the entire outside of the bag covered with stuff, I usually think to myself, oh, this person has never gone and used their gear. Getting back to this board, this is what we are bringing with us is our minimum requirements to survive. Not necessarily do I want the 4-piece, EWCS sleeping kit? Well, yeah, in a lot of situations I do. Can I afford the weight and the space? In a lot of situations, no. We're bringing a whoopee. Okay, poncho liner. All right. So minimum requirements to survive. You must, to the extent that anything I do here is a command to you, this is a must. You must train with it and use it. Getting back to all the things hanging on the side of the bag, and every step you take sounds like this. You must train with it and use it. A lot of the reason why is fitment and interferences. Well, Bear, you see, what I'm going to do is when I put this, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to throw my plate carrier on. Okay, I got my plate carrier on. And then I'm going to put my war belt on. All right, I got my war belt on. And I'm going to put my ruck on. I got my ruck on. I just slap that thing there and get the waist belt. And oh, there's a hold on. Unbuckle this. Drop my war belt. Okay. There we go. Those are called interferences. They happen. The more stuff you strap to your body, the more interferences you're going to have. The more that stuff weighs, the more you're going to be hindered when it's time to do that. Okay? That matters. Or bring your rifle up and fight with it. Well, you go to spin your rifle around and fight with it, and the sling is stuck on the mag carrier on my war belt, and the war belt's tied into the waist belt of my rucksack, and I can't get the rucksack off because there's interferences with the shoulder straps on my plate carrier, and all that put together weighs 97 pounds. Yeah. My war belt, my plate carrier, my ruck, and my rifle weighs 97 pounds. That breaks our rules. So when people say, hey, I'm going to take armor and my rucksack, I'm like, I don't think you are. Not for any great distance. which you need to know, by the way, you need to know where you're going. If your bug out is, well, it's really bad in my suburban cul-de-sac, I'm going to bug out to the national forest to do what? Bushcraft at the Taj Mahal and then live in it? Probably not for any extended period of time. So you need to have that squared away as well. But you must train with it, okay? Now you need 1 bag per family member. Those of us with families, well, what about kids? I have several videos here. Use the YouTube search bar, bug out kids, bear independent bug out kids, or kids bug out bags. I've gone through what I have in my kids bug out bags, but essentially it's the first 5 C's basic: cutting tool, combustion, cordage, container, and cover, and then a little bit of calories for them. And I let them carry some of their own water and some of their own calories, and then essentially a blanket and a change of clothes and a couple other things. A flashlight, kids like flashlights, but they can put that in their pocket, so forth and so on, okay? This is a self-contained kit. What's in this bag is in this bag. It's not, well, I have this thing and it's in my bug out bag, but I actually need it for this thing, so I'm gonna take it out of the bug out bag and I'm gonna put it over here, and then when I'm done with it, I swear I'm gonna put it back. Until you get into the field, you're bugging out, it's the worst day of your life, and you're like, where the hell is this thing? Oh, that's right, I lent it to Johnny because Johnny had to have it. Self-contained kit. We do not dive in and out of the bags. In fact, I have not changed what's in my bug out bag since fall. That was the last time I actually opened the zippers and dove into this thing. Dived, is that the word? Dived/dove, insert the appropriate word here. And cut. All right. The last time I was in this bag was 6 months ago. So we can all be surprised. But that speaks to the fact that this is a self-contained kit. I do not dive in and out of it. I do throw it on my shoulders and march around like a continental soldier because my ears hang low. No, I go rucking with this thing. Throw it on, boom, good to go. I don't need to be getting in and out of it. The reason it exists is so that it's a self-contained kit that we can grab and go in times of chaos so that we don't have to worry about what's inside of it. It's because we've already assembled it so that we know what's inside of it is going to be good to go. Now, 12 C's of survival. This has its own, this is me, by the way. My son drew that, did a good job. Watch this. See? The 12 C's of survival. We have a standalone video on that here in the Prepper Classroom. You'll hear other people with the 5 C's of survival or the 10 C's of survival. And to the best of my knowledge, this concept originated with Dave Canterbury at the Pathfinder School, who's awesome. I've added a little bit more to this, okay? So the first, the 12 C's of survival: cutting tool, knife, axe, hatchet, machete, whatever, okay? But essentially a knife. A knife is the #1 tool that we will interface with our environment with when we're out and about doing the things, bugging out, okay? Combustion, a means to make fire. Cordage. Cordage can be made in the wild, but it's takes a lot of time, can take a lot of energy, so it's more expedient for you to bring a hank of paracord. I've talked about this before. I bring 200 foot of paracord, one in a 100 foot bundle, and then another 100 foot, which technically ends up being about 101 to 102 feet. I know this because I measure and I cut them. The second one I cut into 6, that's this many, 6 6-foot sections, burn the ends so that it doesn't fray and come apart. I use those 6 6-foot sections for lashing things to other things if I need to. Down guys for a tent or a tarp or whatever, okay? And roll them up into a ball, monkey fist it, boom, self-contained. Then I make 4 16-foot. So 6 times 6 is 36, 4 times 16 is 64, 36 and 64 is 100, okay? 4 16-footers. Cut those, burn the ends. Those are good for a tarp shelter as a ridge line, they're good for if I got to hang some food in a tree. I can tie a couple of those together. They're pre-cut, and the point is I'm not cutting them, burning the ends, messing with all that in the field. They're ready to go in the field. And then if I got to have a long piece for something, I've got another 100-foot hank that I really don't mess with. It's just there if I have to have it. But I don't like cutting this stuff, burning the ends, messing with that in the field, okay? In fact, if you think about it, maybe if you're bugging out into the woods, you're probably already making a ton of noise, or wherever the desert, wherever you live, okay? But you don't want to be making all the noise, any unnecessary noise and smell. The lack of discipline in those areas could hurt you. And the burning of paracord, at least for me, is a very distinct smell. Oh, somebody's melting G.I. Joes, right? Cordage, container, single wall steel bottle is usually where I go to first, because you can boil with that single wall. And then, canteens, water bladders, 1 liter smart water bottles. I like those because they interface with my water filter really well. Covers anything in between you and the outside elements. And so this is going to be your rain gear, right? Your snivel gear, your whoopee, your fleece jacket, whatever that's in between you and the elements. It could also be your sleeping bag or your tent or your tarp or your whatever, okay? Cover. Candle. Flashlight. Headlamp is usually preferred, because with a flashlight, I got a flashlight in this hand and something I can do with this hand. With a headlamp, I got a headlamp on my forehead, and both of these hands are free. I tend to bring a headlamp and a standalone light, and then I have a light on my pistol and on my rifle always, because if you can't positively identify your target, you don't have a target. Casualty care. People get injured, bad things happen, so some type of first aid kit is recommended. Doesn't have to be the world's most comprehensive, it doesn't have to be a Bearfac, although a Bearfac is the type of kit that looks good on a rucksack and it'll do the job. But a boo-boo kit, hell, gauze and duct tape can get the job done if you need to. And then you can get, you can spin it up from there. But you're going to get cuts and scrapes and bruises and stuff like that. And it goes a long way mentally for you to have a way to treat those things, not just be looking at them going, I've not done anything to address this wound. This could get bad. Now, could you cut the sleeve off of your shirt and use that? You absolutely could. But casualty care is highly recommended. Calories. You're going to have to eat. Well, Bear, the human body can go 21 days, 3 weeks without food. It can. But how much does your rucksack weigh again? How long of a distance do you think you're going to ruck with it? How often do you ruck? What makes you think that you're going to make it from point A to point B without fueling the machine that's going to get you there? Your body. So you should Google the Bataan Death March. Those people were already smoked before those Marines and civilians and others were already smoked before they started marching. They were on short rations. They had no food. Their rations went from 16 ounces to 8 ounces to 4 ounces a day. And then they had to march. What was it, like 90 miles? You don't want to play that game, homie. Put calories in the machine. Keep it fed. Combat. Okay? Because there should be some element of projecting force beyond the range of your immediate reach. Not that we're looking for a fight, because we're not, but if somebody decides that we're going to have one, I would like to be able to respond in like kind. If this is a deadly force engagement and the other guy is the only one who has the ability to project deadly force, guess who wins? I'm not cool with that. So if somebody else decides that we are going to have a deadly force engagement, I have to have a way to respond to that, okay? So a modicum of combat. And this, for me, in the bug out bag, is represented by some reloads for my rifle. Commo, ham radio and a cell phone, probably's got that covered. Compass is self-explanatory, but in addition to the compass, we need to be looking at things like maps, and you need to actually know where you are going. I cannot stress that enough. If you start your bug out plan with a bug out bag and not a bug out location, you got it wrong. And we have an entire video on that in the Prepper Classroom as well, so please check that out. And then conditioning, and this is incredibly important, getting back to train with it and use it. Your traps, your back, your hip flexors, your ankles, your knees, your core, all of that will let you know after, hell, even an hour of rucking, hey, we're doing something that we don't do that often, and we don't know if we're happy or pissed off. You got to do it. You have to train with it. If you think that people don't rise to their level of expectation, they rise to their level of training. And so if you don't right now make the time to use your kit and train with it and have the conditioning to actually carry this bag over great distances, when you need to do it, it's not going to just magically happen. It's just not. People don't function that way. There's an upper limit of what your capabilities are, and you can stretch and grow that through conditioning. But if you don't stretch and grow that, you are only going to be able to hit the upper limit of what your capabilities are. Okay, and that comes back to conditioning. So you have to use this stuff. Cool. Let's dive into the bag. All right. This is the Condor 72-hour bag. What it is particularly does not matter. People get hung up on it. Well, does it do this and does it have that? That doesn't matter. You need a bag. Whatever bag, doesn't matter. So, and we're gonna run these pockets and we're gonna run them quickly because outside I got two 30-round AR mags. Of course, they're loaded. All right, and so that falls into the combat category. I got a very large Ontario Knife Company RTAC 2 strapped to the outside. That's it for straps on this side. And in fact, this needs to be addressed. That should be secured. Okay? Got a razor knife here because having a razor knife with a disposable blade, it just helps. It saves the blades, the edge on the other blades that you have. It weighs nothing. It takes up no space. It's just clipped to the outside of this, retained with a bungee cord. And then there's a little bit of a tinder kit inside of here. And so this is for making firewood if I need it for making firewood, okay? This is Ear Pro, and it's here because this bag lives in my truck and I go to the range a lot. So if you want to have Ear Pro on here, you can, but you don't need to. 1-quart canteen, instant coffee, water purification tabs, and there's a canteen cup in the bottom. And there's a piece of 1/4-inch rope tied around here to help secure that to the side of the pack. Okay? That's obviously our container. And the idea behind that 1-quart canteen is that, hey, if we're bugging out, the first thing I'm going to do, and it's full, the first thing I'm going to do is pound that 1-quart canteen. Because now I've got some hydration in me. It's time to roll. Down here, where I can get at it, it's my water filter. This is the Sawyer Mini. This is part of your container, okay? And so I've got a couple of squeeze bags for the mini, backwash syringe, cheesecloth for pre-filtering if I'm in water that has debris in it or whatever. The mini also comes with this straw right here. So when everybody's like, hey, I like the Life straw. Like, cool, man. Good for you. I don't. In here, this is duct tape. There's a considerable amount of duct tape here. And then inside of here, these are tea bags. And then I've also got a 55-gallon drum liner right here as a ground sheet, expedient poncho, whatever. Good to have. Powder for your feet and your dangly parts, okay? 100 foot of paracord is right there. In here, I've got a couple of, what do you call these things? Bandanas. There we go. A couple of bandanas currently. And then there's a lighter and some chapstick here. Chapstick is a comfort item, but it also, if you're just extremely hard pressed and you have to make a fire right now, you can get some of that chapstick on the end of a stick and light it, and you're good to go. All right, what else we got here? Oh, we got this pocket here. I have some medicines, another lighter, some antibiotic ointment. Those medicines are prescription, and suffice it to say that if your back hurts, you would enjoy having one of those with you. I've got toilet paper. Put some toilet paper in there, take a roll, squish it, put it in a Ziploc, good to go. I've got my toothpaste, toothbrush, a little piece of aluminum foil. This is good for making a lid over the top of your container, right? Your steel cup, steel bottle, whatever. I have some Iosat. You can Google Iosat. Thyroid blocking in a radiation emergency only. A little thing on wild edibles, although honestly, this should be something that you know. I am not the best at this, and so I have this in here because wild edibles is still not one of my major strong suits. Got a flashlight in here and a little bit of Purell and a handful of other things, some gun oil, so forth and so on. Let's see, over here, fixed blade knife. This is the Gerber Strong Arm. As you can see, it's been used and it's actually surprisingly good. So fixed blade knife is in the ruck. More gun oil, an oily rag, some patches, some brushes for maintaining the rifle, calories, flashlight, field stripped MRE, so that's calories, field stripped MRE, fire kit. No matter what, I'm making a fire, and it's in a little waterproof thing. I've got some spare batteries. I got a cell phone charger. I've got some spare socks. I've got a fleece toboggan or watch cap, and this is part of your cover, okay? Got a triangle bandage. Got some Cliff Bars, calories. Triangle bandage could be cover or casualty care. You can do a lot with a triangle bandage. I mean, you can make a belt out of it, you can make a sling out of it, you can make a tourniquet out of it, do all kinds of things. And this is a mosquito net. Just trust me, in a lot of places, a mosquito net is cool, okay? That's part of your cover as well. You could make the argument that it's a comfort item, but sleep is absolutely vital. And in a lot of cases, having some sleep could be the difference between you getting the job done and not getting the job done. In my side pocket over here, I don't know if y'all can see this, but in the side pocket right here, I've got a pack cover. This can go over the cover. It's waterproof, and it's woodland on one side, and then the flip side of it is coyote tan, the color of this bag. And so that's if it starts to rain, I can pull this out, stretch that over the pack, and it keeps the contents from getting wet. And then I've got my single wall steel bottle. Got this for $1 at the secondhand store. Good to go. And then I've got here a little hand towel, because this is an oven mitt essentially. Little hand towel, subdued coloration if you can. And again, another small piece of tin foil, just because that stuff rocks. And then also in here is my little camp cup. And so this sits inside of here like that. And then this goes inside of here. But to keep that from happening, we stuff that like so. Boom. So that it sits inside of there like that. And then when it sits next to that in that pocket, it doesn't jiggle. It doesn't make noise. So that's what's in that pocket. And these things that are on the outer pockets are the things that I am most likely to need throughout the day while I'm moving. Which is why they are where I can get at them. This pocket over here is a poncho. That's what's in that pocket, okay? That's getting back to covers. The only thing that's in here is a poncho. Now, and this little pouch right here is for holding a cell phone while I'm rucking so that I can listen to podcasts and let either Gary Vaynerchuk or Jocko yell at me and tell me where I'm falling short in my life so that I can suck it up, Buttercup, and get better. Okay? Roger, Roger. And then we'll open up the clamshell of the bag, and we're going to be quick about it. Honorable mentions, by the way, in addition to the poncho, say for your sleep kit, are things like the whoopee, okay? And this can and often does live underneath here, lashed onto these points on the bottom of the ruck. Moving right along. Open the clamshell. All right. Weather layer. Okay? Weather layer. That's part of your cover. We've got 2 1-liter water bottles. Smart water bottles because they interface perfectly with the Sawyer Mini. We've got some Mountain House meals, 3 of them, because calories, remember? We've got MRE snack and MRE, because calories, remember? We've got some peanut butter, the ultimate field expedient fuel, because calories, remember? And we've got another MRE. What do we got here? Beef ravioli and meat sauce, because calories, remember? And the reason for that is I do not want to be wasting my time trying to hunt, fish, trap, scavenge, forage my way to prosperity while I'm bugging out from a terrible situation. If time was something that I had, I wouldn't be doing this in the first place. Okay? Okay. This is a tarp, and this is in no way an endorsement of this tarp. Decent tarp that's in here. So this plus the poncho, good to go. That's the coloration. It's a sill tarp. Nylon silicone impregnated tarp. Shamaga, part of your cover. You can do all kinds of stuff with this, but head covering being the most traditional thing. This is a dry bag, and this dry bag is filled with socks, because socks for the win. Wool or wool synthetic blend if you can. Highly recommended. This is a little tiny 1-person hammock, which I actually have started bringing because it works surprisingly well. And it weighs 1.5 pounds maybe, even with all of its hardware. More paracord. Ground sheet. Again, not an endorsement of this company, but also not an endorsement. Then I've got this pouch here, made by Sojourn Gear. Okay, and this general purpose pouch, this zipper pouch, is my junk drawer. My junk drawer has in it another hand towel. Got some water purification tablets, a bar of soap in a Ziploc, a couple of charging cables. I have the box, the charger actual in another pocket if I need that, because hey, we don't know what SHTF actual is going to look like, right? More water tablets, toenail clippers, tweezers, Sharpie and a pen, and then spare batteries and stuff for my electronics. And that way, all that is in here. It's stowed up and it's tight out of the way so it's not rattling around again. Got a couple of N95 masks here. Got some Tums because for whatever reason, 10 minutes after I put a rucksack on, I need some Tums. It's just the way it works. And I can usually power through it until our first break, and then I got to have some Tums, man. Drink mixes, instant coffee, super glue, granola bars, and then utensils. And that's what's in my bug out bag. And again, the idea here is cutting tool. Yes, we have a cutting tool. We have an Ontario Knife Company RTAC 2 hand sword, in addition to a razor knife. And again, tell me we don't use our stuff. So, okay, cutting tool. We got the RTAC 2, the Gerber Strong Arm, and our razor knife, plus whatever we are EDCing, which today is a Spyderco. Okay, we have combustion. I got the lighter in my pocket. I got a fire kit. I've got another lighter on the outside of the bag. I've got cordage here, cordage on the outside of the bag, which I already showed you. Container. I've got, there's also a 3-liter water bladder in this. There's an outside pouch. So 3 liters, 4 liters, 5 liters, 6 liters, a gallon and a half of water. Full. Cover. I've got lots in the cover department. I've got a poncho. I've got a whoopee. I've got 55-gallon drum liners. I've got a shamaga. I've got my tarp. I've got my ground sheet. I've got my hammock. I've got a mosquito net, and I've got a weather layer. I've got plenty of cover. Candle. I've got a headlamp. Actually, it's in this outer pocket, and a flashlight, plus weapons lights. Casualty care. Got that triangle bandage, super glue. I could probably go a little deeper, honestly, on casualty care on this stuff. So, hey, look, some quick clot and a tourniquet. Nailed it. Calories. I showed you all the calories. I got 3 MREs. I've got 3 Mountain Houses, and I've got some peanut butter right now. And if I had to, I could stretch that a week. I really wouldn't want to, but I could. 3 days would be more ideal. Combat. I've got my reloads for my rifle. Okay. Compass. I have not showed you compass, and I'm probably not gonna. I have maps in here that are in an external pocket on the back of this. Suffice it to say, I carry a compass, and it's a Silva map compass, and with that go my maps, but y'all don't need to be looking at my maps. Commo. Commo is the type of thing that I have in my truck, and I have handhelds like this in my truck, and that if we were bugging out, again, this thing lives in my truck. There's lots of reasons for that, part of which is that I travel, part of which is if the house is on fire, the bag is already outside of the house. But I have many a Baofeng, including in my truck. Okay, so there's the commo aspect. Also with my compass is a signal mirror. Okay. And then conditioning. I ruck with this thing regularly. I wear this thing all the time. As configured currently, this is a 45-pound load. So 45 pounds, man. And I'm using it as often as I can. And I would encourage you to do the same, because it doesn't just happen. You don't just throw this thing on and go, and boom, all of a sudden, you're an animal, man, and you can ruck from here to Timbuktu. That's not how it works. And so I would encourage you, again, to just go use your stuff. There's what's in Bear's Rucksack Actual. All right, y'all. Thanks for being along for the ride. I really appreciate y'all. Please do the like, comment, subscribe thing. If you're interested in supporting us on Patreon, you can always click the baby bear. He's up here somewhere. That's like 24 exclusive pieces of content at a minimum per month. Live streams, men's group, women's group, so forth and so on. So you consider checking us out there. We'd really appreciate it. And share this with somebody who needs to know a thing or two about bug out bags. Shalom, y'all.